Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're featuring the brand Squale. Now they've got a kind of look to their watches. You can normally always tell one of their watches, but this one has a more of a unique look to it. Now this is called their T-183 forged carbon, and this is the blue model, but I should point out it is also available in yellow and orange. The blue looks really good, but to be fair, they all do. Now, what makes this one a bit more unique is not, you might be looking thinking it's, like a DLC coating, but it is a proper forged carbon body on there. Now, that's done by compressing carbon right down to obscene pressures to actually get the body of the watch, and then they machine it. It's quite cool actually. It does look the part anyway, and it gives it a definite more unique look because the layers of carbon will always be slightly different, for each watch. But before I get too far into a review, I've got to say a massive thank you to the team over at First Class Watches. Super friendly, super helpful, great selection of watches, well worth popping in if you're in the Midlands area. If you're a bit further afield, well, don't worry, I'll leave a link in the description below to their website and at the bottom of the page now. All I ask is if you do contact them, please mention the channel, as it really would help. So let's talk sizes. The bezel size on this is 41.4. I know they state 42, but it is actually a bit smaller. The reason the bezel gives the size here, because the body of the watch is small. You can see there's an overhang there. The actual body of the watch works out to just over, I think it's 39 mil. Now, the thickness of the watch is coming in at 15.3 millimeters, and the lug to lug, so this point to this point, is coming in at 49 millimeters. Oh, the strap size, I should mention, is 20 millimeters. Now, the dial of the watch. The dial of the watch is, definitely unique because they use the forged carbon kind of optic on there as well. So you get this, I say everyone will be slightly different, almost like a fingerprint. All of these wavy lines will be slightly different on each watch, I dare say. Now, we do have applied hour markers here coming off that, which gives it a nice look. The hands, now the hour hand, all the hands are slightly different colours. They are brushed here, and obviously the blue goes, you've got the blue hand here and the blue Squale there. Now, one thing I should point out, this watch has got tons of lume. It really does glow up nicely, this one, I have to say. You do have a date window at a 3 o'clock position. I like the way they've just, the writing on it, there's a bit of writing, but it's not too over the top. One thing should be pointed out is that 60 on there, because this watch is a 600 meter diver, which is pretty impressive. Now, as we come past this, we have the, past the dial, we have a sapphire crystal with AR coating. And that makes it, to be fair, it does quite a good job. Every so often you see the AR as a blue hue, which kind of matches the hands and all that, which is kind of quite nice actually. But it does a good job of keeping reflections down to a minimal. The bezel. Now, let's have a quick listen. Sounds good. Back play. Not too bad. Here's a little bit. Every so often you catch it in one position, it does want to travel back a little bit more than in others. Bit of a strange one, that one. Not quite sure why it happens. You can see there's quite a bit of back play. I'm not sure if maybe the springs are set a little bit too low or possibly even too high, and then it's trying to force the metal back. I don't know. Now, the actual insert, fully loomed, and it is also, it's got a forged carbon insert in there, which is a little bit different and unusual. The the outer edge here is steel, and it's all been DLC coated. It makes it easy to grab. It's not too tight. It's just, it feels okay. Can't complain. The side of a watch, obviously this is where we start coming into this forged carbon arrangement. Now, what they do, as I say, is compress it all right down and then machine it. On certain real close-in shots, you can see evidence of some machining. It feels like, anyway, I'm not sure. You do have a nice chamfer going on there. So overall, this should be quite good, because even if you scratch it in any way, it should still be black underneath, which is, it won't show up scratches as such quite as much. Now, obviously, we have the crown over here at the 4 o'clock position. It's been tucked away quite well there. It is signed. Let's try and screw in it. How easy is it? Yep, unscrews no problem. Doesn't really pop, to be fair. Does it screw in first time? Actually, yes, no problem at all. Now, round the back, obviously we have a steel back on this watch. Underneath there, we have the good old tried and tested SW200 movement. I put it on the time grapher. I think it was doing something like 2.5 seconds, as I remember. So no problem at all there. You're talking around about 40 hours of power reserve and 26 joules. And it's one of those movements where, you know, anyone can work, you know, any proficient watchmaker can work on it. It's a solid workhorse, no problem at all. The strap on this watch, I think, is lovely. It's kind of a leather and rubber affair with the stitching going on there, and I like the fact you get the blue going along the sides. It makes it look a little bit more interesting. When it's on your wrist, you'll kind of notice that, and I think that looks quite cool. On the back, we have this kind of leatherwork going on there. I'm not quite sure how to do in water. I presume, yeah, because it's leather and that, I presume they must have treated it somehow. You'd think so. Anyway, I'm not 100% sure. But all signed up on the back. On this side, we have a sewn-in keeper, so that ain't going anywhere, and one floating keeper. And we have a black clasp on there. So it just suits the watch. I do quite like it. At least it's got a little bit of a wider pin on there. I don't like the very thin ones quite so much, but that, I think this watch does look the part. It really kind of yeah, it just looks a little bit more modern. The carbon itself is obviously a little bit lighter than steel, but it doesn't feel that light, because obviously you've got the movement below there and like the steel case back and steel bezel going on there as well. Let me put it on my wrist so you got an idea how it looks. Quick zoom out, quick wrist check. I'm wearing a watch I got when I was a young lad, an old Seiko SQ100, which is kind of a little bit different and cool. And Bob's got on the Quartz Marathon, oh, what's it called? I've got to remember now, the Jeep Rubicon. And that's quite a funky watch too. My wrist size is 7¼ inches. That works out to around about 18.5 centimeters, give or take. Let's put this on. And the strap, I must say, is a little bit stiff at the moment because it's not been broken in. Obviously, I don't want to do that. But overall, it sits good. It will probably sit down a little bit more once it's been broken in. But it looks, I think, quite cool. It's definitely something different. And being forged carbon is a bit of a talking point for sure. I like the little inclusion of the colour because it just elevates it a bit more. But you see how you can see the blue going on around the sides. Just makes it stands out that little bit better. But anyway, I'm going to leave you to it, that chaps. But most importantly, you guys stay safe. Any comments, leave them. I'll always try and get back to you. Take care. Bye.